Yellow Jacobin with a Minnesota Wild recap. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, yeah, the Minnesota Wild in the month of January 6-4, as well as they end their 6-game homestand at 3-3 overall. So, yeah, just kind of a few things that I've noticed. Yeah, starting with last night's game. Yeah, pretty much my facial reaction there says it all there. Holy wow, did we look bad. And I mean bad. I mean, our offense looked lethargic. People were going down left and right. I mean, we lost Foligno. We lost Dumba. We lost... Well, it just goes on and on and on. I mean... By the way, very underrated players, too. Both Dumba and Foligno are. As well as Ryan Johansson, too. I mean... Just hopefully we get those guys back here soon, because, yeah, it just... last night's game. Oh, boy. Let's just say almost everything that could go wrong did, other than yet another multi-game suspension. Anyway. So, yeah, that's basically all I have to say about that game. And of course, well, whenever a team gets punched in the teeth as badly as they did, you always kind of wonder, especially on a back-to-back scenario, like literally back-to-back days, you never know just how a team is going to go. So, watching tonight's game, I was very intrigued and also, not going to lie, very skeptical, just because, well, again, I mean, when you lose a lot of your big pieces. I mean, again, Marcus Foligno is arguably one of the bigger tone setters on this team. And now he's down with COVID concerns. And Matt Dumba, that looked like a scary injury. I mean, say what you will about Dumba. He's pretty good, honestly, all things considered, but I don't know. I really haven't seen anything that's, deterred me or turned me off from him. All political beliefs aside, whatever, that really doesn't faze me. It's just, what can you do on the ice? And overall, he's been really solid. And then that leads us into tonight's game. The game where we debuted. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight was the first game with the reverse retros, and I gotta say, damn, did they look good. I mean, the numbers looked good. Just the saturation of the colors and just how gorgeous. I will say that. Just absolutely gorgeous. But anyway, on to the actual game at hand. The Wild got a big jump. I mean, they were coming early, especially with, guys that you really don't see that often, like Kyle Rao. I mean, Johnson was another guy that was brought up from the taxi squad, and, yeah, I mean, overall, solid play from them. They weren't big liabilities, which is always a plus, but to be fair, though, they have had at least 10-plus games of experience up here at the level, and Kyle Rao is a player I remember seeing a fair amount over the last couple of seasons. So, yeah. Naturally, what ends up happening, Giannis Donskoy scores the first goal. I'm sitting back here going, oh boy. Here go the floodgates, because remember, we're down a lot of key players. And I mean key players. So, how will this team respond? How about a Jordan Greenway just beauty into the net to tie it up 1-1? And then going into the second period, Victor Rask had a big game today himself, scoring the go-ahead goal to put us up 2-1 at the time. And then Cale Makar does what Cale Makar does. And ties it at 2. With just a nasty shot. But, I mean, all things considered, though, the goalies did look pretty good tonight. I mean, they didn't really let a lot of bad goals by them. It's just, you know, tic-tac-toe shots like that are very hard to stop, no matter how good you are as a goalie. And then, moving on to the third period, Brandon Saad scores another big goal to then give the Avalanche the 3-2 lead. And at that point, I'm going, oh boy. So yeah, if you haven't noticed, the Wild this year kind of, especially, they're showing that they can compete at the very least with different styles of teams. Because remember, the California teams, I should say, were more grind, pound, meat grinders, just pummel, wear you down, win like 2-1 type of game. And the Wild held pretty well against that. And then Colorado is just this high flying up and down the ice. I mean, you have guys like Rantanen, Landeskog, McKinnon, Makar, Donskoy. I mean, good God. And that wasn't even the players that were out tonight. I mean, to be fair, though, both the Wild and the Avs had a slew of injuries to pretty big names. But anyway, back into the recap. After going down 3-2 with a little under 8 minutes or so to go, Victor Rask with another clutch goal to tie it up. So, we hold and go into overtime. Literally 15 to 20 seconds into overtime. A beautiful pass from Greenway to Jonas Brodin. Snipe. And that's the winner. 4-3 in overtime. So as I said before, the Wild are showing that they have the talent to go up against different types of teams. They're showing that their goaltending isn't a major liability. Their offense has picked it up. Their defense is pretty good. Granted, I would still like to actually see us have a fucking power play, please. But anyway, there's always got to be something. I mean, that power play has to improve. I think we're like sub 5% now. Like, yikes. To be fair, though, it is still early and all that stuff, but you know it's bad when you almost don't want to go on the power play? Just because you know it's going to be 2 minutes of, well, nothing. And I will say, though, the Wild power kill tonight was huge. Holding them goose egg. 0 for 4. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, Colorado has the #1 power play and the #1 power play kill. So, I mean, for just as good as they are on offense, their defense is maybe even better. So, but yeah, as I said before, Jonas Brodin, I mean, kudos to you, man. Kudos to Rask. Kudos to Greenway. Kudos to the young guys stepping up. And kudos to the not everyday starters stepping up big. And also, it's kind of funny, too, watching Jonas Brodin's post-game interview dropping the F-bomb. Oops! You might be getting a letter in the mail, Jonas. Just kind of warning you. But, I mean, again, what do you expect, though? That's one thing I never got. Like, the people that are like, oh, why did he cuss on TV? He just scored a game-winning goal. A massive goal. I mean, it's no different than when you see the teams after they win the Stanley Cup or the Super Bowl. Their adrenaline is going, buddy. I mean, you should hear even on the ice, the amount of cussing and swearing and stuff that goes on is nuts. I mean, hell, you should hear me in my bedroom. Jesus. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, to wrap this all up, the Wild are 6-4 going into February on the 2-2 with the Colorado Avalanche. So now we go to Denver for the last two, and yeah, I mean, we'll take it from there, because if we can at least get one more against the Avs, that'll be huge. For anything, a confidence boost. Because, again, a lot of people were projecting the Colorado Avalanche to be a Stanley Cup winner. Not just contender, but a winner. So, I mean, hey, welcome to the league, guys. I mean, in order to be considered one of the best, you got to beat the best. And as I said before, this Wild team is starting to get its legs under them, starting to get some confidence. So, but yeah, go ahead and wrap this thing up here, and it'll be fun to see how the rest of the season goes. Especially once we get into late February, March, the trade deadline, and then the end of the season going into the playoffs. How the whole playoff thing is going to work. So, but yeah, 6-4. On to the 2 games in Denver. So this is Jacob signing out.